All right, Shalom. Let us start by giving our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai, Ba'ashem,
Kakadash, double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to Lek Abdeh, doing this work of faith and live with love and true sincerity. All right, and today's topic, we pretty much wanted to call this lesson, the worst life a man could live is one without suffering. All right, so that was based upon a quote in which Edar heard while watching this podcast, and it's a real powerful quote, if you meditate upon it. So with that.
This is Hebrews 12:11. Now no chastening for the present seems to be joyous, but grievous.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Right, so, and keep that on deck. So when you think about the essence of that quote, the worst life a man can live is one without suffering. First and foremost, you got to think about why that is so, right? Because if you growing up and you don't have no form of suffering, stripes or badges of suffering throughout life, if you will, then you'll end up lacking the necessary tools in which you need for life, and we obviously know we Jake, so we gained a lot of stripes, if you will, from going through hardships throughout life, and we gained a lot of precious tools in which we needed to help us get by, whatever type of life somebody was living. Somehow along the way, you gained certain tools in essence for your life in which you needed to live. In essence, some of us growing up, you might have been real timid, or you might have been considered on the softer side, but you might have had to go through some things with life, whether it's been fights or different things that the Lord may have put you through your environment, things that made you a thicker skin, that made you more aware of your surroundings, made you have that spidey sense to know when something is off, different things in the nature, more discernment, different things. So you constantly learning and grabbing up those spiritual jewels when you're going through, your hardships. In essence, that's what we're doing. This is the ultimate gain in which we're doing within this truth. Gaining those spiritual nutrients and things which we need. So bring that back real quick.
Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous.
Right. So no hardships, obviously, is a thing that people really want to experience. At the end of the day, we don't. It's a good thing the Lord don't let us know ahead of time what hell is coming our way, because we'd be frowned all the goddamn time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how could you find any way to even crack a smile or something, you know what I'm saying, even while we in hell, if we knew what was coming directly? Like, if the Lord told us, okay, this day this gonna happen, we'll be pissed off all the damn time, you know what I'm saying? So the Lord does give us a little bit of relief, daily, and things of that nature. But ultimately, when we're going through things, it's grievous unto the soul, it's grievous unto your mind. Why? Because it's making you think, it's making you worry, it's making you stress a little bit. So those things are necessary for our growth. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Right, and we know the word exercise mean what? To be tried out. So it said what? Through us going through these hardships, it yieldeth a peaceable fruit when you're exercised by whatever trial, tribulation, and things of which you're going through. I always mention it. Sometimes the Lord may put you through something that might test your faith. Sometimes the Lord going to put you through something where you're going to need to use discipline. Another time where you're going to have to use discernment. It's so many different gifts and different things in which we have to be prepared for within this life, with our job or different situations, and especially into this spiritual warfare. The Lord is allowing us to gain those spiritual nutrients necessary. So real quick, this is James 1 and 17, and it says, actually, let me start at verse 16. Actually, see, this is, all right, boom, James 1 and 12. I'm gonna start from here. James 1 and 12. You gotta jump in whenever you want. James 1 and 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Right, and even with that right there, it said what? Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, what we just read that scripture, breaking that down, he shall receive the crown of life. Now, why he had to endure temptation in order to receive that crown. So that lets you know, you have to go through something to obtain some form of greatness. You have to go through the hardships. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, et cetera, et cetera. We always try to use those as prime examples of them going after something that they want within the world. They're going after that NBA championship. While us in the spirit, we going after the glory that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has set forth for us, for our kingdom that is to come. So that's what we're ultimately going after. So through that process, we have to have those hard journeys, Verse 13, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Yahweh, for Yahweh cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust have conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. So it said what? But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. Now, we know there's two forms of lust. There's a good way to lust and there's a bad way to lust. Grit that real quick, Deuteronomy 14 and 26, just to get into that, because all lust isn't bad. But in this case, he is talking about evil lust. But we're just going to get into, to show the balance with it. So go ahead.
Deuteronomy 14 and 26.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after.
Mm-hmm. So you can take the money, whatever your soul lusteth after, right? So go ahead.
For oxen or for sheep.
So for food, for clothes, go ahead.
Or for wine.
To drink, go ahead.
Or for strong drink.
Drinking, go ahead.
Or for whatsoever thy soul desireth.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy power. And thou shalt rejoice, thou and thy household.
Right, so it's just letting you know that you can lust after good things, what the essential things of life that will make a man merry. What we get around, when brothers get up to do lessons or after camp, we get up, we sit there, we drink, we get some food and, we talk and we converse with one another, you know what I'm saying? Brothers might do a little something here and there or watch the fights or watch this, whatever we do, that's lusting in righteousness, there's nothing wrong with that. But in this case, they getting into, the wicked lust. So I'll read this again in James 1, and once again, bring this up just to show the balance. It's James 1 and 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust have conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. So the Lord will put you through certain situations where you might be in a lustful situation, because maybe whether it's just something that he wants you to be tested on right now, or maybe you may have carried a lust spirit on you from when you were in the world into the truth. And now he has to put you in those situations in order for you to make you shake it off. Because the only way you truly know if you can make it through a situation is if you're tested on it, right? If you have a lust demon, you can't, you just come into the truth, yeah, it's all going out. It could be, because we know the Lord can do all things, but ultimately, how will you ultimately know if you over that lustful situation? If you present it with an adulterous situation, a woman that's married, she tried to come at you. Now you understand, the ways of the Lord. Before you was in the world, you might have just jumped on it because you was a nigga, you ain't know no better. But now coming to the truth, the Lord put that before you. Now you tempted with that lust. Hey, but you refrain from it. Now you know for certain that you have overcome that, because you were put in that situation, you were faced with it head on, and you overcame it. That's the ultimate test, man. That's the ultimate way, if you over certain demons and things that you might face personally, with yourself, Verse 17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. So how it said what? That peaceable fruit. So the peaceable fruit can be a good gift, right? Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. So the Lord is constantly blessing us with these different spiritual gifts. Matter of fact, grab that real quick. I'll get it. Psalms 68 and Psalm 68 and 19. Yeah. Psalm 68 and so I can.
I'll read it.
Oh yeah, read it. This ads on this thing.
Psalm 68:19, blessed be the Lord who daily loadeth us with benefits.
Who daily loadeth us with benefits, or what? Good gifts, right? The Lord constantly blesses us with little things daily within our lives, or little or even bigger things, periodically, in the nick of time. And the Lord knows that he's doing that so that, hey, we have more further assurance of faith within him. The more we believe in him, the more he's willing to do for us. You know how they obviously say in the church, if you take one step towards the Most High, he takes 2 steps towards you. Now we know for every person that ain't true, but for us within his truth, that's how we have to look at it. The more faith that we have in Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua, the more they're going to come through for us. We can look at all the examples of old, all the great men of old, how they put their trust, their faith, their hope, their love into Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua, and how the Lord came through for them in every situation. You have something?
Even the God of our salvation, Salah.
Okay. You got something else after that?
Let me see. I think I did. This is the book of it says this is Psalms 116 and verse 12. Mm-hmm. What shall I render unto the Lord for all his benefits toward me? I will take the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord. So as the brother was going into, how do we show that we appreciate the Lord? By continuing to walk with him through the trials and tribulations. Then it goes and say, I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of his people. And that's how we accept it that's how we accept it, and we show that we love him, by going out there feeding his sheep. And through feeding his sheep, the Lord, through feeding his sheep, it comes with a lot of trials and tribulations in that. As far as going out there on the highways and hedges and when it's hot, when it's cold, putting your body as a living sacrifice. And when it's stand through that suffering, just as Yahweh Shai, that's what allowed him to be accepted. And when I looked up that word, Hebrews 12 and 11, where it says yieldeth the peaceable fruit, right? And it goes into it says, nevertheless afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit. And when you go into that word peaceable, and meaning loving peace, bring peace with it. And when you go into the law, a peace offering was always accepted through fire. So just some some
that was a beautiful point right there. That's a beautiful point. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. Every single thing in which we go through, we really have to take it, as a blessing, low key, even though at times, it's hard to get through it and we be pissed off and different things like that. The Lord knows exactly what he's doing far better than we could ever know or ever understand, man. We try to, especially with a lot of our people nowadays, they try to figure out every single thing, or why this or why that. The Lord going to reveal to you what he needs to reveal to you. The rest, you just can't worry about it. Right. And just to show that real quick, in the book of Ecclesiastes, really quick. This is Ecclesiastes. Actually, real quick, give me James 4 and start from the top.
James 4 and 1. From whence cometh wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members? Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not.
Exactly. So the Lord said, from whence come all of these different wars and things that's all about you? It's why, because, read it back one more time.
James 4 and 1. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust that war in your members?
Hey, and what we was just talking about? We was just talking about the lust. So the things in which that our people are constantly seeking after, they lusting for them in the wrong manner. Instead of going about doing things in a positive manner to go after something that you want, people would rather take from somebody else or do this, or rather just envy on somebody, hate on somebody else, or different things like that for no reason. The Lord gave every man a measure of faith. The Lord gave every man his potential gifts, and one gift is going to differ from another. Another brother is going to differ from another. You're going to have a strong suits. I'm going to have a strong suits. You're going to have weaknesses. I'm going to have weaknesses. That's how we look at it in the spirit. But once you apply this to the world, they can't look at things in this manner. So the spiritual nutrients and things that we grab from this truth and from going through the hardships in these truth are hopeful. If we're a part of that elect, we're hoping that these things lead us into the way of everlasting life. That is the biggest difference between us and the 2/3 of our people, especially here within Babylon, because they don't have this way of understanding to correct their ways and to go through that fire and to understand that fire is purifying them. They just think, oh, I'm suffering, and just like it's nothing else to it. We know that this suffering is detrimental for our spirits, and it's much more to this because it's the growth to come out of this to bring us into that kingdom, man. Through all our hardships, right? So that was it on that.
I got a quick one to add what you were saying. This is Proverbs 9:8. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee.
Exactly, because we in the truth now, we have that understanding. We don't have that nigga mentality, anymore, to where somebody might say something to us, and you're just going to spaz out on me. You feel like, oh, you can't tell me this or you can't tell me that. We know that we can all be wrong at any given time. We know that sometimes we just need to examine ourselves, or we need to think upon what somebody's saying, because sometimes you might not get exactly what the person is saying right then and there, but you might get it later on down the line, and the Lord might reveal it to you. Or sometimes you might just need a quick refresher, so to speak. You might know something that somebody's saying, but sometimes you might just need to hear it again in that moment. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, to the other point that I was mentioning, this is Ecclesiastes 8 and 17. It says, then I beheld all the work of Yahweh, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun. Because though a man labor to seek it out, yet he shall not find it. Yea, further, though a wise man think to know it, yet he shall not be able to find it. So you have all these so-called wise people that's out here within the world. They want to know every little nook and cranny. If the Lord wanted to give you every little nook and cranny, he would give us that, man. That's why the Lord gave us the scriptures, for us to have the understanding of the things in which we need to know, and the things in which we need to go forward within our life on a daily. The Lord is not going to give you every single nook and cranny. You're not going to know everything upon the face of the earth. Why would the Lord give you exactly all the same knowledge that he's equipped with? If you're a master builder, right? If you're a master builder and you have all of these creations, you're going to keep that ace in the tuck so that you have one up on your creations. So this is exactly what the Lord has done, man. But like I said, when we going through those sufferings and those hardships and things like that, the Lord is going to reveal to us certain things in which we need to know, and the rest of the stuff don't even matter. As long as we gather that precious fruit or that precious jewel that the Lord wants us to grab, that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Precept. Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 verse 20. For the power of the Lord is great, and he is honored of the lowly. Seek not out the things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength.
And that's all you see people doing. They constantly seeking things that are above their strength. Hence why you got all these witches and warlocks out here, playing with these damn tarot cards and looking into the future and trying to read palms and all of this. Why ain't they life perfect? If they can see into the future, why ain't they life perfect? Why don't these chicks, because you mainly see with the women, why don't you see them have the man that they desire, the house that they desire, the money, the ultimate life that they desire? Why are their life still in turmoil? Why? But they're still being haunted. If you can know everything through this, why is your life not perfect? Why is the people who's coming to you, paying whatever money to you, why is their life not perfect? If you really could know everything, you don't. So all of that shit don't even matter, man. We just focused on what the Lord is revealing to us on a daily, the prophecies that of the Lord, and how to constantly move, man, and the signs and things that the Lord shows along the way, so we can grab up these spiritual nutrients that's essential for our life, man, essential for salvation,
But what is commanded thee, think thereon with reverence. What is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret.
Right. So what is commanded of us, think upon with reverence, the things in which we know we have to do, the mission in which we have to carry out. How we ought to be as a man, how we're up to hold a standard, for the Lord, how we ought to hold a standard for ourselves as men. And especially as these last days is approaching, when Esau is going to come with all sorts of madness up against us, man. That is nothing but hardships that's going to build our character that we need to be the men that the Lord wants us to be, man.
That was it on that.
That was it. You had something else?
No, I have anything else.
All right, go to Sirach 2.
Sirach 2:1, or Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Mm-hmm.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure.
Right. Prepare yourself for temptation. Set your mind aright, and we know what to constantly endure. Go ahead.
It says, and make not haste in time of trouble.
So to constantly endure, what does that mean? That means constantly. So things are going to constantly, things are going to keep on happening, but you have to keep enduring them. You have to keep overcoming them every single time, right? Now we know sometimes, you might get down and out about yourself about certain things you went through, or you might have slipped up doing this or slipped up doing that. Hey, but the Lord is going to bring you along. Hey, pick yourself up, learn from that. Because the scriptures say don't let your sins weigh you down, man. So what we supposed to pick up, learn something from it, and pick up and move on, even if you might have lost this battle, because the ultimate thing is that we know we're going to lose some battles, but we want to make sure that in the end that our wins outweigh our losses. That's how we're going to get to the kingdom. Just how an NBA team, you want to get to the playoffs, you want to get to the championships. Well, guess what? Your wins have to outweigh your losses, because we know we're going to take some L's. That's a part of it. Losses equate to lessons. So that's how we have to look at it. But the wins ultimately from the losses, we're supposed to gather so much more from the losses than the wins, because it's something that UFC fighter, MMA fighter, Kamaru Usman, that's his name, right? Yeah, that's his name. He just was on a podcast of I Am an Athlete, and he had this quote. Let me try to find it real quick on YouTube, because he had this quote that he said in there that was real powerful. Athlete podcast. He was just up there like yesterday. Okay, yeah, this is what he said. Kamaru Usman. Let me see if I can put it to the camera and if it'll show or not. Them just gonna be backwards anyway, right? You probably ain't gonna be able to see it. Damn, but anyway, from Kamaru Usman, this was three days ago, and they have it titled Kamaru Usman. I learned more from my one loss than my wins. You know what I'm saying? Because why? Because how the scripture said, but what is commanded upon thee, think upon with reverence. So what we know that when we sorrow, or when we miscarry, or when we go off, we're going to think upon the things that we've done wrong with reverence, because you don't want to experience that again. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to get over the hump, so you can start picking apart your loss, picking apart this, picking apart that, picking apart every scenario about the situation, so you can squeeze the juice out of the headphones, so to speak, man. You could get all of the squeeze up out of the orange, man. That's what it's all about. Because during your wins and things, you're not really focused constantly upon, okay, what I could have done better. You might look upon little things like, yeah, I could have done this better, but it's not as deep thought. It's not that deep meditative thought as when you actually had that loss. Now you really picking it apart. You analyzing every situation that's possibly known to man. You might look at, like him, he might have looked at his tape 100,000 times just in his bed for months when he had that loss, like, damn, you know what I mean? And just planning and strategizing what to do better the next time around, so that he don't have to experience that. That's how we have to be, when we have these moments of just, whether we going off or just down and out, from whether it's financial, or you lost your job, or your car, or different hardships and things like that. We know this is all a part of the process. And, somehow deep within us, we have to learn how to take these, in stride,
Precept, 2 Corinthians 12:7. Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure.
Exactly. So the Lord basically let Paul know, about the situation. And he got to understand that, like, yo, the Lord gave me a thorn in the side of the flesh, so that what? I don't be exalted above measure. You know what I'm saying? Because the Lord know us, like I said, the Lord knows way better than we know ourselves. So people could have been looking at Paul like, oh, we don't need Yahushua. We have Paul here now. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord don't want nobody to take his glory, or at the same time, the Lord like, well, if I keep doing this to Paul and stuff, then, hey, he might get big-headed. He might get prideful. You know what I'm saying? Then I might got to destroy him or something like that. So the Lord has his contingency plans in place. Not a contingency plan, I don't want to say that. But the Lord have everything set up in a way that we don't destroy ourselves, or so that the world doesn't take the glory away from him. That everything is a laser focus on what it's supposed to be, man. That's the beauty of the Lord, because the Lord protects us from ourselves. How it says in Job 33, how he when men fall asleep in the deep sleep upon men, he sealeth their instructions, and then it says he keepeth man from the pit, he keepeth from death. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know which way we to go. So if we were to go our own way, we'd probably be locked up and dead at much more alarming rate. Car accidents at much more of alarming rate, without the angels intervening in different things of that nature. So the Lord have everything planned purposely just like that, man. So we don't destroy ourselves,
For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
And that's the key. So the Lord gave him that, because like what? My strength is made perfect through weakness. So through you going through this, hey, you're going to be even stronger because of this. Because now you were at this point, you're strong. Now I got to bring you down with this element, so that now what? You can be even stronger in the spirit, man. Because what? When we're at our lowest, that's usually when people are at their strongest. Because what? Once again, when they're doing good, they're not really thinking about the Lord like that. I always remember a quote that Mike Epps said. He said, yeah, I love the Lord, but I want to get this money first. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if he didn't have the money, if he broke, you're going to be focused more on the Lord. But it's like, but if you got that money, you focus on that money. He going to fuck around and wait till his deathbed or something. That might be too late at that point, man. So this is why it's so important to understand that these chastenings in which we go through, it's ultimately for our benefit, and it's to build up our character. And once again, the quote to start off this lesson, the worst life a man can live is one without suffering. We need all of these jewels. We need all of these hardships. We need every bit of it, because the Lord has the perfect mixture, you know what I'm saying, just to mold us as we should be for him,
And it says, and he said unto me, this is Yahushua speaking to Paul, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach, Yahushua, may rest upon me.
Exactly. So he said, what? Well, I glory in my infirmities, so that the power from the Lord may rest upon me, man. So this is how you know that. Hey, it seemed crazy, right? Because if you think about it in a mortal, well, we are mortals, but if you think about it in a worldly mindset, it's like, hold up, that sounds fucked up. How you gonna make me weak and say that now your strength going rain down on me when I'm weak? That's fucked up. But hey, us in the spirit, we know it has to go this way, man, because it builds us up on so many different levels, and ultimately we get the glory on the back. The Lord and Yahushua, they get their glory first, and we get our glory on the back end, man. We riding on the coattails of the Lord, man. So that's how it has to go. What you about to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just that's the spirit. I was thinking about that yesterday. Like, we going through all this hell. When the Lord comes back, he's gonna snap his finger and make us perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what the hell? But like the brother mentioned, Yahushua got to get his glory first.
Mm-hmm.
And scriptures say when he comes, he's gonna be healing in his wings. Mm-hmm. However, he wants to see, like that. I always think about that scripture: when I come, shall I find faith on the earth? So he wants to see that fight. He wants to see that you working towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Like the brother, I believe the brother quoted it. The scripture say, "Draw nigh to the Lord, and He will draw nigh unto you." So it says, "Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, and reproaches, and necessities, and persecutions, and distress for Yahushua's sakes. For when I am weak, then am I strong."
Hey, and it said what? And all for what? Yahushua's sakes. because we know that we're following in the footsteps of our big brother Yahweh Shah. So we bearing that cross as he bared his cross. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, ours ain't as ain't as big as his ultimately, because he made the ultimate sacrifice. But once again, like I said, we getting our glory on the back end, but we still got to go through the necessary processes that our big brother went through, and be examples, to the rest of our brothers, out there that haven't woken up yet. Show them, hey, we do have a way, and that way is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. That way is these scriptures. You're gonna have a hard road, but hey, we already have a hard road as is. So if you're gonna suffer anyway, why not suffer for the Lord's sake instead of for righteousness, instead of suffering for wickedness, and you be destroyed, Yep. So that was it on that.
Yeah, I was gonna grab one. Just going into Isaiah 53, where basically this is how Yahweh was accepted, and where it says Isaiah 53:10, yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahweh shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. You see? So that's when the Lord, Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, is going to be satisfied with us. And that's, bro, that's all we hope for, man. Is the Lord be satisfied with us, man.
Yeah, you said what? When you're going to see the travail upon his soul, he shall be satisfied. Like, all right, he went through enough. He's reached the final pinnacle that he need to reach. Like, just like when we watch, I was watching Most Wanted today, the movie with Angelina Jolie, Morgan Freeman,
That's the spirit. I was watching it the other day.
Yeah. And looking at it from the spiritual aspect, applying it to this, obviously, what they had to put the guy, I forgot what his name was in the movie or whatever, but they had to put him through the rigorous training to see what he was made out of, to see if he can get to that point that they wanted him to get to, because they told him that his father was the greatest assassin that ever lived. They lied to him about who his father was, but his father still was the greatest assassin. So they wanted to see if he had that in him, so that he could be able to get to his father. And he had to constantly go. They had to beat him up, kick his ass. He had to go through all the training. They kept asking him, "Why are you here?" He's like, "I don't know." Then at the last time they kind of beat him up, he said, "I don't know who I am." So when he said that he don't know who he was, it's like, okay, now you can actually start the journey. Now you can actually go through the process, because you want to get to the core of the essence of you. And then he understood, okay, I really got to go through this. I got to put I got to focus more on this, because this is something that I live for. My father was this, then hey, that means I'm supposed to follow in those footsteps. So we looking at it in our senses, hey, our big brother was this, so we got to follow in those footsteps. This is what the Lord requires of us. So we have to follow this path, man. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, so I know it's a little repetitive, whatever, but just really want to drive the point home. That obviously, we get all we get really through the sufferings and meditation and thinking upon things, and these are all gifts from the Lord at the end of the day. However they come, they still gifts from the Lord, because it's all supposed to bring about those precious spiritual nutrients that we need to grow. And Lord willing, we use the tools in which the Lord gave us, and the gifts in which the Lord gave us, to be able to enter into the kingdom. So once again, that quote was, the worst life a man can live is one without suffering. So with that, we hold the segment was edifying, and ready to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, and Kakwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone. Shalom to like out there doing this work of faith, live beloved, true sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom, Maki.